women, the ultimate goal in a relationship is to solidify that through marriage. And that's not the goal of the majority of men, right? I mean, depending on where they are in their process and who they are as men, they may not be there. And you can be 26, you can be 66, and that's irrelevant. That age range is irrelevant. What does matter is, am I ready to be with the woman and commit for the rest of my life? And I continue to go back to this lack of clarity about what men and women perceive a true relationship and marriage to be. And men see it as, it's been in society now, it's been portrayed as this ball and chain, and I'm restricted and I can't get out. I gotta be able to go out. I need the ladies to see me. I got a new suit. And I mean, I'm just saying that's the way it's been portrayed in this world. And so marriage is no longer like this accomplishment. It's this, why'd you do that? And that's a terrible way to perceive a true marriage, whereas women still perceive it as this pedestal of achievement. He chose me. I am the one that he truly desires and wants to spend the rest of his life with. And that's not the way it's portrayed for men. And that's those perspectives clash in such a way that it makes it difficult. And it sucks for women who are trying to get married. But that sucks. But that's the way it is. I don't know how else to say that, but I mean, I think us being here and us even having this conversation is a clear indicator that men do still portray marriage as something of value and it's sacred. And so keep putting up shots.
So I think it's real simple. The reason why we run from commitment, and one of the things is responsibility. I mean, once you make that commitment, it comes with a lot of responsibility. And number two is the accountability. Man, once you make with a woman, all that is time out for games. And we know, we search our heart and say, really, am I ready to commit? Am I ready to be responsible? Because once I say I'm gonna be a husband, that's different from being a boyfriend. Once I say I'm gonna be a husband, that's different when it comes to the accountability. Because I learned first on, like, you used to hanging out with your boys. You're not used to answering someone. Married men come home after work. They don't go to different places. Married men check in. They don't let the voicemail come on when their wife calls. So a lot of these things, without somebody giving you a list of the things you want to commit to, we already know. So instead of telling her that I'm not ready for the responsibility and the accountability, we got to kind of like muddy the water with some other things, like, I got to pay off my student loan and all the debt, you know what I'm saying? And, it's just all these other things going on in my life. It's not you, it's me. You know what I'm saying? I think I'm gonna go, you're right, I do need some dirt. But the thing about it is, you should be glad that these men are not running toward commitment, because it's a horrible situation to get married, and soon after you get married, you realize you made a mistake. Thank you for letting me share. Same question.
That was funny. So I wrote three things down so I wouldn't be long-winded. Number one, they don't have to. That's why men won't commit. Too many women give guys stuff for free.
Come on.
Right? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all giving these guys stuff, so what is he gonna commit for? He's already getting everything that he wants. And I'm not just talking about sex, it's everything. Access to your car, access to your house, rulership over you when he has no authority over you, all that stuff. So what is he gonna marry you for? And then number two, they're not ready. Like he said, some guys just not ready. That's why they're running from it. And then the third one, y'all not gonna like this one, you're not the one.
Right.
You ready? You got it mic'd up over there? Yeah, I just wanted to agree. I think that too many people look at brothers, and so when we look at brothers, we'll say, you know, out of the last 10 guys that I dated, they weren't able to commit, they lied, they weren't able to love, and this, that, and the other. Yeah, they weren't able to love you. Right? But they'll fall in love. They have no issues falling in love with someone who they're meant to be with. Right? But let's understand, it just wasn't you, and that's all right. That doesn't say nothing about your worth and value. Nothing at all. Right? And doesn't say nothing about his worth unless he acts without integrity, right? Now, he'll go and be in love with someone else, and that's fine, who he's meant to be with, and you'll go and find someone that is for you. Right? But just because somebody doesn't choose you or doesn't treat you the way, it just wasn't meant to be. That person wasn't for you, and that doesn't decrease your value, right? It just wasn't for you.
He was breathing fire in that mic. He was ready. He was ready. So Ian, what events in your life most shape you how you interact with the opposite sex?
Wait, what events?
What events in your life that you experienced most shaped you to interact with the opposite sex?
My mother and father, they're divorced. When they split up, they never used me, my brother or sister against one another for leverage. And we were their number one priority. And their marriage, they're still best friends to this day. They taught me about conflict. And I learned just from experience that men are going to navigate the world logically. Women are going to go about it emotionally. And at some point in time, there's a conflict that's going to surface, and it's how do you handle it? And looking at them has helped me do that. I don't expect to go a long time with a woman and not argue. Now, I'm not saying I'm promoting arguing, but it's going to happen at some point. And you have to be very delicate with a woman's feelings whenever you're wrong or she's wrong. And from looking at my father, there were times he just calmed down and say, you know what, Lorna, I'm not ready to talk to you right now. I'll come back, talk to you then. And I think that interaction with handling conflict, it says so much to a woman about how you're going to handle everything else. Because if you are manhandling her, if you will, that's suggestive of who you are with everybody else that you know. I forgot what I was about to say. Like, I really wanted to say it, it's going to come back to me. What was the question again? I just drew a blank.
What shaped you to interact with the opposite sex? What like?
Oh, on top of that, my brother taught me how to talk to women. He gave me all the tricks in the trade, all the game, all the things you're going to see, what kinds of women you welcome into your life, what kinds you don't. And he taught me something important about interacting with women, kind of what some of us were talking about. So what are your intentions? Where are you? What are her intentions? Now, I'm not going to go into any unnecessary detail, but I've been at points in my life where, like, she wanted sex, I wanted sex, that's what we're about. It was not going to be anything more than that. And when you communicate, hey, this is what I want, this is what you want, we're on the same wavelength, even if it's bad sometimes, and I'm not proud of this, but even if it's bad, communicating what do you want out of it is a good thing, you know? In relationships where, say that she wanted one thing that I didn't, or vice versa, I would clearly communicate, hey, we're not on the same wavelength. I'm going to end up hurting you, you're going to end up hurting me. So that interaction, then teaching me how to go about things and then handling conflict has been something that's been great as far as how I interact with them. And then growing up around a lot of women, a bunch of female cousins, a bunch of girls, mom, sister, I mean, everybody. You get to see, I got to see a window into women in ways that maybe someone who grew up with all brothers, father was in their life, you didn't really get to see all that. And I know just from my experiences with them that what ultimately a woman wants is someone that is trustworthy and accountable. Do you do what you say you're going to do? And I'm end up going on a long and necessary tangent. I won't hold y'all up, but basically those are the things that have helped me interact.
Cool.
Real quick, I got married at 18 and I got divorced at 25. And how those events affect my life is because how will someone that loved you stop loving you? And I realized that I learned from that relationship that love and fear can't exist together. And once a woman that loves you becomes afraid of you, she can't love you. So that affected me throughout, from that relationship with that one woman. I realized that I viewed that woman as an object and not a woman. That the selfishness and the controlling behavior didn't give her it didn't humanize her, and it ended horribly, and it was something that when you look at yourself in life, you regret more than anything that you hurt a woman, just in a negative way, like one of the guys in the book was talking about a relationship. And when you was raised and you never seen something like that and you go through it, you really don't know how that affects that woman when you're a selfish person and you don't hold yourself accountable. So from that relationship, moving forward, God dealt with me. He dealt with me very harshly. He dealt with me in a way to where he allowed me to see how I hurt her by allowing me to experience hurt. It wasn't the same type of hurt, but he put me in a position in life that I could become empathetic. He said, you see how you feel now? That pain that you're feeling is the pain that you caused. What I want you to do is to learn from it. And moving forward in life, the one thing, Danny, and this is God talking to me, that I have a very hard problem with. You can break in cars, you can damage property, but when you harm people, I have a real problem with that. So take care of people. And from this forward on, going in life, never put your hands on a person and never say hurtful things to them. And that's what I learned from that relationship. Thank you.
We're going to wrap it up, but it wouldn't make sense if I didn't ask the question. We'll go with you, Dr. Brown. Have you ever had a broken heart? And could you describe that situation and how you overcame that broken heart?
I can say you probably the most sort of pain that I felt was when I was dating this woman in college, and I really liked her. We've been talking for a while, and we were on different campuses, but I was on one with the car, so I would drive over to her campus all the time, like 30 minutes there and back. And you know, I'm playing football, I'm in school, and then one day she hit me up and said, I was just on your campus. I was like, hold up now. I done drove to your campus how many times? You were over here on your own and didn't even tell a brother, you know? And she was visiting a friend, a male friend. Oh, man. And so, you know, she said, we're just friends, but I was hurt. And what was crazy is at that moment, usually I'd have just, you know, deaded the whole thing and been done. But even if she was lying to me, being with the other dude, it still didn't matter. I still wanted to be with her. And that was deep, man. That hurt, that shook me. You know, I was like, it was such a vulnerable position to be in. And that was probably the biggest sort of heartbreak. That one specific moment, there was never a big relationship fall or anything, but that one specific moment really showed me what it felt like to be vulnerable and to be in a situation where I really had no control over it, and I was with a person that possibly may be doing me harm, but nonetheless, I still wanted to be with them. Right? But she wasn't cheating, it was good.
Yeah.
If she wasn't cheating, it was good.
That concludes my questions that I have for these amazing gentlemen. Let's give them a round of applause. I mean, let's really put this in perspective, ladies and gentlemen. This is really rare to have 6 men speak on something other than what? Sports, politics, economics, CNN, that gorilla Harambe. Lord, I'm tired of talking about dog with gorilla. But we're speaking on things that's very rare. It's very common for women to do. You have so many talk shows where you have what, The Real, Voice Talk. What are the shows? A lot of shows, and there's like 0 for men. So this is very rare, and I appreciate you all giving them your undivided attention and really listening to what they have to say. I pray that you definitely have questions of your own to ask these men, because they're ready to answer them. So at this moment, I am giving the stage to you all. I'm going to give Tiara the microphone, and just raise your hand and she will get to you. And yeah, we'll do it. Question and answer. Anybody, just raise your hand. Any questions? I know you.
Okay. All right, hold on. What I'm more concerned about right now as a high school teacher of freshman students, particularly male students, how do we sustain this knowledge through them that you have about your own self-efficacy? How do we, as women, promote these kinds of conversations at a time when they seem to need it most? And if you haven't been in high school lately, our young men are kind of morphing into something that I'm not quite happy with. And how do we help them on that road, or can we help them?
Excellent question.
What would you say they're morphing into? Yeah, that's the question. If I may ask.
Is it identity?
Yes, it's an identity. It seems to be an identity. Different kinds, just even from just how they're feeling in relationship to maybe sports and athletics, but then just on relationships with female and other males.
Awesome. Will we ever, anybody? Go ahead.
Well, being raised by a single parent, and I was the oldest of three, it's the influence of this not being influenced. Like my mother was playing she was doing dual roles. How many are single mothers here raising kids in the room, single parents? So what I do is when I meet a single mother and she has a boy, and my sister had one, I try to encourage them to get them to engage with men. Not a boyfriend, but you have to take the initiative that if you just raise him alone and you give him all the values, what will happen is he only sees one side, and we become emotional beings and we missing something, the element that a man has, that rational side of him. And so we respond emotionally to everything, and we take it into our adulthoods. It happened to me, and I realized being around a bunch of aunts that were positive and being around a strong-willed mother, they still were women. And when they got in crisis situation, they still reacted most of the time in emotional ways. It may be a controlled emotional way, but I still was picking up the tendencies that when I react to a situation, I would get in my feelings. And when men react in emotions, we don't cry. We get angry. We hit and smash things. So to change how boys think and react, they're gonna have to have the model of a man around them. So if you're just telling them, don't do this and don't do this, it's not enough. So you gotta get them involved in programs that have men. Yeah, everybody's gonna say, take them to church, but it gotta be more than a Sunday service. There's all type of organizations in Houston, Texas that involve men volunteering their time, saying that, hey, each one, I'll take him up under my wing. It's just, we have to take the initiative to go out and find these men.
Same question, please.
First, thank y'all brothers for sharing. This is fantastic. To address your question, it's scary to me because, I don't know, maybe I'm watching the wrong TV shows, which is very probable, but I see more clarity around like women should be strong, independent, educated. Like there's much more clarity about the role of a woman right now. As for men, it's like, I guess I should hoop. I should play basketball. I should play football. There's clarity there, but there's not real clarity around what clear behaviors and characteristics for men. I don't see them, but I watch ESPN, so that's it. I mean, quite frankly, that's what, when you talk about a freshman group, what are they watching? That's exactly what they're watching. And the only way, it's scary because I don't know where that influence comes from except from here. Except from us taking the first step of saying, I'm gonna go touch some man's life who's in freshman, whatever, high school, yeah. But I mean, that's the only way I know how to make that happen because I don't see it coming from the mass media. I don't see, it's very difficult to find outside of watching how awesome JJ Watt is, or how awesome Steph Curry is, right? Those are the only things I get in terms of masculinity of real characters outside of the church, right? The only other place I can find strong men is by going to church. So that's, I don't know where else to create that sustainable kind of influence that impacts men and gives them clear identity, is scary.
That's good.
Your question though was,
here.
what do women do about it? What can women do about it, right? And I would say that a lot of times we all are socialized in the same way, and so we all perpetuate these things in the same way. Men and women both perpetuate these types of men. Women will say they want a strong man and emphasize that, right? In movies, the strong, aggressive person's the one that gets the girl, right? So on the one hand, we're telling them they need to be that, but on the other hand, we got a problem with it. Girls are aggressive too in high school. Girls get in fights too in high school. But then they grow up and see, well, hold on, them type of girls, they're not the one getting the things that I want. But the men that are aggressive are getting the things that the boys want. And so we all perpetuate this. What we do is we build self-esteem in them as they are. We build them up so that you don't have to go and be someone else in order to be valued. We give them value. Then they're not going there pretending to be that.
There was a question, you had something to say in the back?
Can you give him the mic?
Yes.
Speak a little bit louder.
Speak louder or come forward. Take it, yes, right on forward, right on. Catwalk.
I played professional basketball, and I was a coach. And I used to teach at Texas A&M. And I would tell all the white coaches how to recruit a black kid. Now, it's not right, but I just know my people. Now, if you get this in NBA, Steph Curry has both his parents. You see the guys like LeBron and great athletes, they got one parent that's a female. And so if we're looking at an athlete, a kid, and he's got both his parents, he's not gonna have the drive that I want. And I'm not gonna have that control that I want. But if I got a kid that just has one parent, which is the mom, I'm gonna have that control over that kid. So he's gonna do whatever I want him to do because I'm a father figure for him, if you understand what I'm saying. So I teach that to all the coaches, how to recruit black kids.
All right.
Wait. Was that a question or a statement? Do you have a question?
Yeah, he basically dropped the mic after that.
That was an audition for next year.
There we go. You got it. You got the position.
Sign him up, TT. Sign him up.
I got it.
Got it. Any questions?
Unfortunately, it won't reach, so if you don't mind
You can make it
sashaying
around here or speak
and,
loud so we can hear
or
you.
use your outside voice.
How you doing? I'm glad that you guys came out to be transparent. My question, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, my question is, why is it so difficult for other men to give advice or to speak to other men? I'm married. I've seen some of my friends go through troubling marriages, and they're very hesitant to go approach another married man or a single man about a situation. Why do you think that they're so hesitant? As contrary to women, we just kind of talk. Just talk about it. It's not really a big thing as long as, situation don't get out of hand. But why are men so hesitant to talk to other men?
I definitely think it's pride and ego. We think we kind of have the answers, ourselves. Anything that comes our way, we believe we can do it. And if we can't, we'll find out. And if I'm not going to sit here and not be able to do it because I don't want him to be like, you weak. And I don't want my lady to be like, well, he can't do it, so I'm going to ask somebody else. So you really, men really deal with an ego thing in their mind, and they just keep beating it in their minds. And over time, they'll just use that drive, and they don't know they're messing up their lives by using the ego and don't want to talk to another male about issues that they may have or another woman about something that's going on in their lives that they actually need help with. They just believe they can do it on their own.
Good answer.
Saw a couple, you stood up.
Another question?
Yes, but he had a response. I don't want to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
No. Okay, thank you. I have a question for anyone who would answer this. I did some research last year and spoke with some different single women. We called it the Marry Me series. Some of the research that I found was about how men tend to fall in love from a chemical perspective. And from that chemical perspective, the woman had to move out of the way I don't know how long that period had to be, but she had to move out of the way so that his basic male hormones would allow estrogen to take over for a while for him to feel that in love that a woman can feel easier. What are your comments about that, sirs?
I don't remember chemistry class. That was a great question, by the way. Great question.
Well, we know that the science behind smells and it's there. And that's why we put on what? Cologne, perfume, it's attractive. But the thing to think about that I can meet someone and something chemical is going on, it's just hard to grasp that idea, but I wouldn't reject it. But the thing about it is, even if I did use that as a ground to be attracted, I still got to bring some substance to that relationship. So even though the attraction is there, if I don't have the character, if I'm a selfish person and a controlling person and a dishonest person, it's really not going to matter. Thank you.
We got two. I got it. Yes, in the yellow, please stand.
I have a question. I'm in my nurse practitioner clinical rotation, and I was in a clinic, and it's a gynecology clinic. And what I discovered, it's a lot of youth that are over-sexualized. And what I'm trying to, for me, I just think I'm trying to figure out why is that happening to some of these youth, these young girls coming in, and it's like they don't care that they have sexually transmitted diseases. They don't care that they're getting pregnant at young ages. I'm talking 13, 14-year-olds. They don't care, and I mean, I was just on my rotation doing what I was supposed to do, but at the same token, it hurt because I wasn't raised like that. The friends that I'm around were not raised in that manner. And not saying that things don't happen, but it just brought to my attention that either A, we're not communicating to these young women, so when they get to that age where they're starting to date young men, they don't know how to have that conversation either. So I guess that's my question. My question is, what do we need to do as women to communicate to these young females, taking pride in their reproductive system, understanding that that's their womb, you need to take care of that, and make sure that you're valuing yourself. You know, that's my question.
First of all, have any of y'all went to the gynecologist?
But I blame it on twerking. Great question. You had me off a little bit, like, well, these are men, we don't know about it. But no, it's a great question, so we have an answer for you as well. Stop twerking.
Answer.
Most human dysfunctions at their core can go back to love, our desire for love and our need for love. And so these young women, more than likely, somewhere there's a love piece missing, probably at home. And so you got that piece to where they're missing love. And then we live in, because, I'm just going with my thoughts. So, and then you have the access to more sexual content, right? So back when I was growing up in the 70s and 80s, people liked sex just as much as they do now. But we didn't have it on every channel, every show. Cartoon, it wasn't, we didn't have access to it. And so you have the formula of, these young ladies, and men too, boys too, missing the love piece, and then now this sex thing is all out there. And then your body, you want sex because we're sexual creatures. And so now, if I'm giving sex, or if I'm giving head or whatever, these boys like me. And so it's a false sense of you like me, but it's not genuine love. So what do we do for these little girls? Well, it starts at the home. Everybody that I see in my office, I only see children, right? So last week I had a 65-year-old child. Why do I call him that? Because his issue went all the way back to his dad. And everybody that comes in usually does. So we got to get these the girls and find out what's going on at home. And we got to, talking to them about their womb and you're precious. And I think that's kind of like a step 2, 3, or 4. But the first step is finding out where's the love piece missing. And like Dr. Brown said, I think it was Dr. Brown, building the self-esteem and the self-awareness that, hey, I'm worth more than my body. Because if nobody tells them that, they don't just get it because they grow up. Like someone has to tell them that, and then they have to see it. Because your mama tell you that, but then your mama got men coming in and out, and she's popular. Well, I want what my mama got. So it has to be a balance.
And the reason why, the reason why we're seeing them showing up at the gynecologist's office, they're pregnant and with STDs and whatnot, is because if that's the only way they're getting love, if that's the only way they're getting attention, they don't care the repercussions.
Right.
That's how we gonna get it, right? And they're not concerned with protecting themselves and whatnot. They just want that love.
I see old school Danny over here. Cause they's twerking. Danny's still with the 2-step, he's still old school. We appreciate that, man. Keep the 2-step going. But some of these girls like to get in formation, Danny. So y'all continue to get in formation if y'all want to.
Spencer, right up front, we have a question.
Yes, sir.
I'll come to the mic.
Oh, come to the mic.
I have a statement and a question. The statement is, I think we have been dealing in the miseducation of love. And what I mean by that is the foundation of love, there are 4 types to 5 types depending on your religious belief or foundation. And what we operate mostly in today is that of agape and eros. But the point is, the agape is unconditional and eros has condition. So the point is, most of our love that we are focused and foundationed on is unconditional, not unconditional, it's conditional. So the point is, when you become a new creature, you're supposed to shift your love language to an unconditional form. So, eros, agape, it gives us a deeper perspective of where we are speaking from. And it also encompasses all the other types of love agape does. It's the best of all. So it operates in desire, it operates in all of those different components, brotherly love and sisterly love and family and father and motherly love. All of those are incorporated in one. So my question comes, there is something called love languages. Some say there were 5. Some say there's about 10. But love languages actually identify how you best are loved. Is it gifting? Is it words of affirmation? Is it quality time? All of these different components. My question to you guys is, how important is your love language?
Thank you, brother. It's extremely important. It's like speaking Spanish and English, right? And I think so many times I've seen relationships. He's frustrated, she's frustrated. They're both trying to show love. They both genuinely love, but their languages are way off, right? He's trying to show it physically. He's trying to show it through time. And she wants him to buy him something, right? And so that difference in how you express love and the language that you use for love, I think is crucial in a longevity of a relationship, because sometimes you get in a relationship and it's just like, man, you get me, like you understand me. What is it? Why? I just feel loved all the time. What is it? And that I think that's because you guys speak common languages of love. You speak common languages of love where the way she expresses love for you is exactly how you need it, and vice versa. So to me, it is something very much so overlooked, but very, very crucial in a real relationship, and feeling and expressing love both ways. It's very important. And for me personally, answering that question. Yeah.
Well said, well said.
So I remember the first time I read the 5 love languages years ago. Man, my mind was like blown because, as a matter of fact, I was already divorced in my first marriage, and when I read the book, I was like, man, that's what love is. I had no idea that love wasn't how you felt, right? And so I I was in love with the 5 Love Languages book. But as I've grown and as I have, like in my studies as a therapist or whatever, what I've come to know is that the 5 love languages or love languages, it's good, but it is very much foundational and beginning. Let me tell you why. Because if you get stuck in the 5 love languages, if you're not careful, it will perpetuate pride. Because what you'll begin to do is so one of them is acts of service, for example. You're not loving me in my love language, and that's why we're having problems, right? But going to what the brother was speaking, since he was speaking biblically, Christian love don't look like the love languages, because Christian love looks like service. When Jesus washed his disciples' feet and then said, do you know what I'm doing, right? He was giving them an example, and then later on in that verse he says, by this men will know you are my disciples if you love one another. He was showing them how to love, right? So if I'm not speaking your love language, it doesn't let you off the hook from loving me. It doesn't let husbands and wives off the hook, because I don't know what your love language is, but I know how to serve. Folk don't want to serve in marriage. Did you know that nobody gets married for love? At least that's what I believe. I don't have scripture or text for that. That's the gospel according to Clifton. Nobody gets married for love. Let me tell you why. Come on. Because when you're looking for a mate, you're looking for someone to love you forever. You're not looking to love someone else forever. Otherwise, I wouldn't have a job, right? Because nobody goes around looking for broken people to love. Jesus did that, but we don't do that. We look for people who are fine, educated, got money, because we're looking for someone for us. But guess what? That's attraction. That's not love. Because genuine love is not about you. It's about the person you're loving. And nobody gets married for that. I don't even think you can. I don't think that you can, because I think that would be that's against human nature, right? But once you get married, you can't stay there. If you stay there where it's all about you, your marriage is going to either fail or you're going to become roommates.
Well said, well said.
And now we can take 2 more questions. I did see this gentleman here.
That's Mike Garrett. I deal with a lot of youth in Atlanta town, out of Spring area. A lot of young men. I mean, they have no single family homes and stuff like that. But what you guys have been trying to convey and put out, it's not getting out there. It's not getting to nobody. This is going to be right here in this room right now today. And when you guys walk out this, that's it. That's it. And we wonder about the kids getting the diseases and stuff like that, and stuff like, they don't know. Nobody's telling them. The school teacher don't have time. She's got to teach. Her kids don't learn. She don't have a job. So at the end of the day, they go back home. It's just back to the same old thing. It's not getting put out there. Everybody in here probably got, know what's happening and what's going on and stuff. But that's it. If some guys like you would go to the schools or something like that and just talk with the kids and just sit out with these guys, they just don't know. Nobody's telling them nothing. You get a pamphlet here, you got STD. That's it, and you're out. Half of them don't go to the doctor. The parents don't have time. Both parents are working now. So they got the opportunity to be at home by themselves. So a kid can make what? A kid decision. But nobody's telling them, hey, that's not right, that's wrong. I deal with this every day. I got some knuckleheads on my end. Good kids, but you can't be everywhere and you're one person. I try to do this at Fallbrook Church on my end of town. Pass them on here. These little guys over here, they're pretty good. They got the riding skateboards, 4-wheelers and everything. Pass them over here, but they want to start blood and crip games. And you sleeping in a bed, you got food in the refrigerator. I don't know nothing about that. But nobody's putting that out there. They won't allow you to put it out there. If you guys can go around the city doing what y'all do now, you probably save a few of these boys out here. Yeah. And young ladies too. My question is, let's try to get something together and do something, out there. Sorry.
That's a great statement. We appreciate that.
Yo, if anybody, look me up online or get my email or my phone number. If anybody has anything that
Dr.
I
Brown,
can
we'll
come
get to
see.
that later. Dr. Brown. No, we're gonna get you. I promise we're gonna get you.
Trying to go there where he at.
Okay, we have one other,
But I'll touch on that as well, if any of these other gentlemen do. I totally believe what you're saying, but it's only 7 of us, right? So we can only do as much as we can, and we are going to do. I believe that with all my heart, that all these men will go out after this and be better than when they were when they walked in here. It takes one. It takes one. Chris goes back to Austin. He goes to whatever school there. Just have one mentor. Mentor one child. We can't do everything. We can't do it all. But that one child may be changed, and that can be infectious. Chris can show up, be an example, like, man, Chris is cool. This is how I want to be. This is what Chris told me. I want to be like that. We also have to step out of our comfort zone and be able to do that. What I mean by that, we have to stop watching ESPN. We have to get out, right? When the homies call us, like, hey, man, let's watch this finals game on Monday. Nah, I'm good, man. I got this kid. I'm going to take him out to dinner. We're going to talk about the Word of God and see how we go from there. You got to sacrifice that. And we have to be the change that we want to see in the world.
Amen.
And it's one step at a time. And I'm just like you. I am highly encouraged to be that one guy.
Yes.
And then from there, it just keeps going.
That's right. Can I say something real quick too? Just it's about the men, and I'm gonna just say something really fast. I think we're looking at you all, and we're looking at you and saying, well, what can you do? But what this is all about too is for us to look inward. We need to, again, we talked about courage. It's not just the 7 men standing or sitting up here. We need to look within ourselves, women, men, your children. Even your children can sow. With SAS, we have 2 of our SASSy board members. They're in middle school, and they're sowing into the community. So we need to challenge ourselves and say, what can I do? What can I do for these young men and women who are lost, who don't have an identity, who don't have self-esteem? We have the power in us to do that. So if we challenge ourselves every day to do something to sow into the life of someone else, we talk about building a legacy. That's your legacy. That lives beyond you. So I like that you were asking these gentlemen, but we also need to look within ourselves and say, what can I do?
That's right.
And we have one more question. This young lady here in blue, and then we do need to move on. Oh, here. I'm sorry. Let me give you the mic, pretty lady.
I have a question. As far as position in dating, I found out, I came from a single parent home. I came from a home that where women were dominant. In my dating position, I had the chance to be married, but having a spiritual life, my soul would not let me do it because I knew that it was the wrong thing. The dynamics were wrong. We were not equally yoked. And now I'm looking for advice in dating, but the things to look for and things that I can do to change my position of, when you want to say that feminist aspect, I am strong, I do my own things, but I'm looking for a spiritually strong man. And I'm not looking to hold my strong position within a marriage. I'm looking for it to be biblical. So in looking for that, I know that I have to submit what it is that by nature that I have done in dating because it hadn't brought me the relationship that I wanted. And at this point, I'm looking to complete my process with God and the Holy Spirit in order to have the marriage that I want. But I'm not, as far as dating, I need my view, my perspective changed.
And you got it?
I got it.
I love women, and I love love, and I think when I was in kindergarten was when I realized I love women. I mean, it just started that early. I mean, I looked at them and I knew it was like, you know what, I like y'all. And so what I did early in life, I befriended women. And I think the Bible says that present yourself friendly. But it was like one of my gifts, you know. So women taught me a lot, you know. And one thing I've learned, because they counsel with you. You know, I was the type of guy that had female friends, that I was trying to sleep with. They said, cause that'll mess up our friendship. I was like, nah, I ain't going for this game. You just don't want to sleep with me. No, Danny, if I sleep with you, I'm afraid I will lose the friendship. Anybody ever had a guy friend like that? You just didn't want to sleep with him because you valued his friendship more? That happened to me a lot, so I still think it was game, but I accept it. Because a lot of these young women that I grew up in school with, till this day, we still are great friends. But here's the point. The statistics say for every 7 successful women, there's only 1 successful man. You guys are rocking it. We're falling behind. You guys are moving forward. We're being left behind, sagging. You know what I'm saying? We're caught up, materialistic. We're not keeping pace with you. So when you're a successful woman, you got to remember there's not an even playing field. So that means you have to be patient. If it's only 1 man for every successful woman, man, you have to hustle. Because there are 6 women competing with you to get just that 1 guy. Just that 1 guy. So what the other 6 women are doing? Compromising. They're compromising because I believe, it's just a belief that they're compromising because they ran out of patience. And they're saying like, I can't keep waiting for a guy that's successful like me, that believes in God, has all the values. So I end up taking someone that has a little of what I need, and that's a bad decision.
So I think that your question is probably too complex for this setting, and we're running out of time. No, for real, in real life. But and so let me say this publicly, so nobody don't think I'm trying to holler. My wife is. Raise your hand, babe. That's my wife. So when I say this, my wife is witness. We can talk afterwards, or I can give you my card and we can talk, because that is definitely something that, if you're interested in knowing how to have a biblical dating and marriage, and I would want to talk to you about that. And maybe some other men too. I'm just saying, I know I could, and so I'm offering that to you. Okay?
Slick, how you do that pub in there, Clip. I like that. Holla at me after. This is real complex. I give you my card. No, that's great. Tia, are we? I think we got one last question. One last question. Who got it? Nobody? All right.
Okay. Vital relationship as men. What I mean by that, how do we as men make sure I can trust you? And I'm not talking about because I know we go into church and we say praise the Lord and hallelujah. But other than sports, how do I know that I can trust you as a man? How do we establish a vital relationship where I know that Danny got my best interest at stake? If I tell Danny, hey, you're wrong, and Danny accepts that because he understands that Greg got his best interest. How do we as men establish these type of relationships?
Great question. Now, did you mean trust with another man or with the opposite sex?
No, me.
With men.
Yeah.
Trust amongst men.
We can't use for one man to.
Not sports.
Anybody else?
I never heard a question that I was afraid to answer. I got something.
Danny is killing it. Do y'all have any other questions? Danny, you got it, baby.
With men, I'd rather see a sermon than hear a sermon. So it's a lot of people can say these great things, and when you sit down and talk to them, you have a conversation with them, they're very impressive. You see what car they're driving, but for me, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch how you interact with people, how you treat people. And then I wanna know what are your vices? What are you doing with your free time? Who are you giving it to? Are you in the community? Or are you just talking about gaming and getting more and more and more? Because to me, you know, I just learned that looking at the lifestyle of Christ, I just can't see the wealth and the drive for success in his life. Only thing when I look at the life of Christ, the only thing I see the man doing is serving and giving. And here's the key. He was dealing with the least of these. So for me, it's simple. I just deal with the people that have the least. And for some reason, it's gave me the most. The most in the type of life that gives yourself some value when you wake up in the morning. Not based on what's in your checking account or where you work, the title, but it just makes you feel good that you're doing something which has some substance to it. That kind of mimics or look like Christ-like attributes and characteristics. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, let's just keep that applause going for these gentlemen. We are done with the Q&A. Good job, guys. An amazing night. We appreciate y'all once again staying focused in. We kind of went past time a little bit, but hopefully you learned a lot from it. Right now, I'm going to pass this to you. Real quick, Clifton, get his card because he's trying to get it. Clifton, what's your business again?
A Better Family Now.
Better Family Now. The Encourager, the blogger, book June 15th. Yep. Book, when's your book coming back, bro?
Next November.
Next November, there it is. So now we're getting to Tierra. You ready? We're going to pass out some awards.
Okay, yes. Okay, so, thank you. Again, can we please give a round of applause for these brave, transparent, and courageous gentlemen who just opened up and displayed true love, not only for themselves, but really love for us, for being able to tap into that courageous side and be audacious about who they are and sharing that with us. And again, the whole goal of this is not for it to stay confined within these four walls, but for us to branch out and be empowered and courageous enough to remove the mask and help lift up someone else. So thank you all for setting that example tonight. So one more round of applause, please. And at this time, I do want to invite up, a standing ovation. There we go. Thank you. And of course, Mr. Spencer Foreman. Thank you, Spencer. So at this time, we're going to transition. I know we're a little tight on time. I think you all had some fabulous questions, and so it was warranted. But I'm going to invite my mom, author Mary E. Gilder, up to the front. And I'll let her speak as well on that, but what we tasked ourselves to do, more so my mother, was to identify four men who really embody what it means to be courageous about who you are and what you believe in. Four men who are willing to go beyond themselves to sow their nuggets of wisdom, their gifts into the hearts and into the lives of many. And really, we all should get an award, but there are four men that we would like to specially grant this honor. We're honored to be able to honor these four gentlemen with the 2016-2017 Mary E. Gilder Men of Courage Award. So they are aware of who they are. I'm going to read a brief bio, and let me say, for some of the gentlemen that sent a bio, they sent me a dissertation. And as I got them, I said, that's right. That's why you are selected, because you have rolling credits of seeds that you're gifting, and we all should aspire to be that way on a daily basis. Is there something you want to say before I start calling up our honorees?
I just want to say that it is my belief, I hold the belief that we are here on assignment. I believe that the greatest gift one can experience is connecting with that purpose, with that assignment before you leave this planet. So many people lay on their deathbed, and regardless of how much money is in their bank account, what kind of car they drive, where they live, they feel a sense of unfulfillment because they were unable to connect with God's plan for their life. And I've always felt rich, whether my bank account was large or whether it was small. I've been a wealthy woman for a very long time because at a young age I knew regardless of my accomplishment. It's not about the degrees, because God actually sent me here to be a writer. And it doesn't matter to me who understands that, who approves of that, or who puts value in that. I know that that is what God sent me here to do. He sent me here to touch lives through his assignment for my life. And I know that he's proud of me because that is what I'm doing. So I believe the greatest act of courage one can hold is being able to first connect with your assignment, but then having the courage to walk in it. So we believe that the men that we have chosen are walking in their purpose, in their assignment, and are adding to their journey. And for that, we are so grateful. We are so very grateful and honored to present you with this wonderful award. Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to get started with this profound moment. And I will read just a brief bio. I condensed it a bit for some. But read a brief bio and then ask that gentleman to come up. I have Miss Nicole Flanagan, who has a special award of appreciation. And my mom will, of course, go and give them a hug. So yes, so you can go and stand by Nicole. All right, so this first gentleman, he's focused his life work on building up the kingdom of God. He received his Bachelor of Science in Criminal Justice, a Master's of Arts in Counseling, and a Master's in Community Development from Prairie View A&M. And this is what's so astounding. He did this all before the age of 24. All before the age of 24. Then went on to receive his doctorate of missionology, all while he started his political career at the age of 21. And this included Commissioner of Precinct 3. He was an honorable city councilman, the past mayor and pro tem, and currently completed his 4th term, which is 8 years total, I believe. And he's also the author of a groundbreaking book called Christians We Be Clubbin'. And it's a book that brings forth a new consciousness and spiritual enlightenment to the younger generation. So here it is, we have a brother who is doing that, sowing those seeds in Christians We Be Clubbin'. He released his first single in 2012, The Amazing, which was the first of a song and sermon series. He is the CEO and founder of Quality Music Group, and he serves as Chief Operations Officer and Associate Pastor for world-renowned St. John's Downtown and Northwest UNC Bread of Life, where he helps to lead the war of spiritual enlightenment and the battles of hunger, homelessness, and HIV. And this gentleman, I can speak personally because I've seen him at work with the Bread of Life. I've seen him down there on Saturdays and Sundays, and he's serving food, and he has a connection with these individuals who are homeless, who are battling different, whether it's emotional, psychological, mental illnesses, or just, hey, you hit a bump in the road, and he's there, and he's actually in the midst. He's on ground zero. And what a man of courage. So well deserving of the 2016-2017 Mary E. Gilder Men of Courage Award. I am honored to invite up Reverend Dr. Simeon L. Queen. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, if you don't mind standing up there. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Queen, for all that you do in sowing into the community. All right, thank you. Okay, the next gentleman is currently serving as pastor of the Family Fellowship Community Baptist Church. He is happily married to Gwen Elizabeth Jones of 35 years. Let's just give a round of applause for that. 35 years. And as a unit, they have parented 3 God-fearing children. A few that are, I know one that's here today. Pastor Gerald D. Jones is a passionate and professional preacher who believes in building biblical believers as we await the second coming of our Lord Jesus Christ. In addition to pastoral duties, Pastor Jones works with schools mentoring. He works with apartments for after-school Bible study programs. He works with nonprofit organizations and community businesses. Pastor Jones, and I know we have some military vets in here, is a retired Air Force Master Sergeant. I think that deserves a round of applause. Yeah. He was enlisted in the Air Force in June of 1974, having over 32 years of combined military and civil service. Some of the achievements that I want to note on behalf of Pastor Jones is he is the president of the NCO Academy Graduate Association at Ellington A&GB in Texas. He is active in the Men to Boys and Boys to Men mentorship program through the Spring ISD. And again, we're just talking about how are we going to sow into our youth. Here's a gentleman that embodies that on a daily basis. He's an outreach minister, a camp director of Christian Outdoor Coalition. He's a part of Men with a Message mentor program through Aldine ISD. He is a spiritual leader and a drug prevention board member of Spring ISD. I had the pleasure of speaking with Pastor Jones recently. I think we were on the phone about 45 minutes. And he was feeding my soul and just so enthusiastic and excited about, he has a camp program for children where he does it yearly, and he's getting excited about the camp program he's doing this year. And just his enthusiasm and his excitement about sowing into the lives of others. And he does this along with working. And so if he can do it, we can do it. And because of that, you deserve the 2016-2017 Mary E. Gilder Men of Courage Award. Please help me welcome Pastor Gerald D. Jones. We're doing a picture. Smile for the camera. All right. Thank you, Pastor Jones. Okay, all right. Okay, our next recipient, honored recipient, he also has 35 years of combined federal service with over 20 years serving in the U.S. Army. This gentleman has traveled throughout the United States and foreign countries to include Africa, India, and several Caribbean islands. As a Memphis, Tennessee native, he retired from the U.S. Army to serve his community full-time. He is the Senior Vice President of a men mentoring group, again, these male mentors, all this power in here, called I Am My Brother's Keeper Incorporated in North Carolina, and founder of the Covenant Connection Network Group, which is designed to advocate covenant relationships, networking, unity, and support for one another throughout the community and marketplace. He is also the founder of the Covenant Connection Network of Greater Houston, and he gives his expertise to others, empowering them to bring their visions to life in regards to nonprofit organizations. And with this talent, this gift of his, he has helped to establish over 70 nonprofit organizations. Wow. Yeah, over 70. And I know that he has been an integral part in just sowing in vision into SAS, and I've been granted the privilege to see him at work and to refer people to him and to see his magic and his, again, enthusiasm. All of these men have that innate enthusiasm to give themselves away, to die empty, and that is amazing. And so for that reason, I would like to invite up Mr. Gregory Fulton as a recipient of the 2016-2017 Mary E. Gilder Man of Courage Award. All right, smile for the camera. Thank you so much, Mr. Gregory. Okay, all right. So last of all, do we have Mr. Jamal Phillips? Jamal Phillips in the room? Well, we don't have Mr. Jamal Phillips in the room, so this one is a very special one. This gentleman, and he probably can, if you take a moment to think of the name Jamal Phillips, you can kind of put it together. But this gentleman, he loves Philippians 4:13, and we knew from the beginning that he was going to be awarded this amazing award. Ooh, I shouldn't be crying. He embodies a true man of God. He last year was in a car accident, and from that car accident, he realized his gifts. He knew before, but I think in that moment, he found his courage to really walk in the calling that God has for him. And he went on to create, and he founded Philippians 4:13, P413, which is a boot camp, and it's more than a boot camp. It's a spiritual journey where we meet together, and it's free. And he sows himself into the men and women that come to this boot camp every Saturday. We do a Bible study. He reads a verse. He's reaching out to us during the week. He's on Facebook all the time, feeding into the souls of people. He truly embodies a man of courage because he goes beyond himself on a daily basis to be better than he was the day before. And that's what being a man of courage or a woman of courage is having the ability, the desire to look yourself in the mirror every day and want to be better, but more importantly, having the courage to pull other people with you. That's right. That takes a lot. And so, I don't want to say anymore because I'll start crying, but we are honored, and he didn't even know about this, but again, this was something when my mom thought of this, the 2016-2017 Mary E. Gilder Man of Courage Award, we thought of Spencer J. Foreman. Jamal is his middle name, so I was trying to make it, so he wouldn't know, and of course Phillips for Philippians. All right, Spencer, so thank you for embodying the 2016-2017 Mary E. Gilder Man of Courage Award, and to all of our recipients, to each and every one of our recipients, Mr. Greg Fulton, Pastor Gerald Jones, I have Jamal Phillips, but Spencer J. Foreman, and Dr. Simeon Queen. You all are an amazing group of men. You are a reflection of what men should strive to be, who women should strive to be. Let's take away gender. It's not about gender. Who we should strive to be. Every day we should die empty. When we close our eyes, we should be on E. And you all do that. And for that, we thank you. We applaud you. We honor you. And I don't know if my mom has something she wants to say, but just thank you all so much for doing that. It is an honor for us to be able to honor you.
I just want to say that so many are deserving, but you all have set the standard. This is the first of what will be a yearly event, and you have set the standard. We have so much love for you. Keep inspiring, keep encouraging, because we need you. Yes. Thank you so much.
So at this time, this does conclude this night in this room. But the expectation again is that you go out and you sow seeds of courage moving forward. And I'm sure you all do already, but maybe you can challenge somebody else to do the same. We have cake in the back. Please Feel free to eat the cake, please, eat the cake, and eat the cake. We have sandwiches and fruit. We want you all to take pictures. Also, we have our dynamic team, the videographer and photographer. They have cards, right? Cards? Okay, so they have cards. Please visit them if you have an event coming up. Hey, they are phenomenal, very professional. And also meet with our panelists, take pictures. We have books if you would like, book signing. And again, we are honored that you all even came out on a Saturday night to help us celebrate. We love you, thank you.
I would like everyone to stand up and give a round of applause for SAS, for all the SAS members. This is a SAS fundraiser.